Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $1 coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're talking about the 2000p Sacagawea $1 coin, a modern coin that hides some truly valuable secrets. Released in 2000, this coin features Sacagawea, the Native American woman who guided Lewis and Clark. She's shown carrying her baby, making this coin a tribute to strength and heritage. It was minted in Philadelphia, marked by the P mint mark, and while millions were made, some are worth a small fortune. Let's talk about rarities and valuable errors. Point 1. Of the most famous versions is the Cheerios Dollar. In a 2000 promotion, General Mills placed special Sacagawea coins inside cereal boxes. These coins have extra detailed eagle tail feathers on the reverse, a design difference that went unnoticed for years. These are now worth thousands. How can you tell if you have one? Look at the tail feathers. If they're sharply defined and not flat, you may have a rare Cheerios Dollar. Then we have error coins, mistakes from the mint that collectors go wild for. Some of these errors include: struck through grease, parts of the design are missing, off-center strikes, double strikes, die clashes, designs overlapping. These types of coins can be worth hundreds depending on the severity and condition, but the most legendary of all, the 2000p mule error, a coin struck with the front of a Washington quarter and the back of a Sacagawea dollar. Only a few are known to exist. These coins have sold for over $90,000 at auction. Even regular 2000p Sacagawea dollars in mint condition can bring in more than face value. Uncirculated examples and high grades from professional grading companies often sell for $10 to $20, and sometimes more. Let's break down real market values. A standard circulated 2000p Sacagawea dollar, $1 a Cheerios Dollar in mint state, over $5,000. Major error coins, $50 to several $100. The mule error coin, up to $90,000. So before you spend that golden coin in your wallet, check it carefully. Flip it, examine the details, and compare. You might just be holding a hidden treasure. Coin collectors, this is $1 that's worth much more than it seems. Top 2. What if I told you that a simple golden coin from the year 2000 could be worth far more than face value? Today we're unlocking the story behind the 2000D Sacagawea $1 coin, minted in Denver, and why collectors are still chasing this modern-day treasure. The Sacagawea dollar, first issued in 2000, was a bold change from the typical U.S. coin. It features Sacagawea, the Native American woman who helped guide Lewis and Clark, carrying her infant son. The golden color came from a unique manganese brass alloy, making it stand out in your change. But not every coin is equal. Now let's zoom in on the D mint mark. That's the version struck in Denver, and while it was mass-produced, there are some incredible rarities and errors that can turn this common coin into something truly valuable. Point 1. Thing collectors are constantly hunting for are mint errors. While most 2000D coins are worth face value, a handful have left the Denver mint with mistakes that make them extremely collectible. Imagine a coin that's off-center, with part of the design missing, or one with a die clash, where details from the other side of the coin appear faintly where they shouldn't. These aren't damage, they're mint-made errors, and collectors love them. There are also examples of struck-through grease errors, where parts of Sacagawea's face or the eagle are faded or missing due to clogged dies during production. These oddities make the coin stand out, and increase its value depending on how dramatic the error is. Another collector favorite is the missing edge lettering on later Sacagawea coins, but for 2000D specifically, it's all about spotting high-grade conditions or rare striking mistakes. The highest-graded coins, known as MS67 or MS68, are incredibly hard to find. Most coins show scratches and wear from circulation, so finding a pristine, untouched example is like striking gold. So what makes your 2000D coin valuable? Mint errors like off-center strikes, die clashes, or struck-throughs. High-grade condition, especially professionally graded MS67 or higher. Any signs of unusual features or striking flaws, even a minor error, can bring a huge jump in value, especially if certified by a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now let's talk real market value. A normal 2000D Sacagawea dollar in circulated condition is worth $1, but a high-grade uncirculated coin, graded MS67 or better, can sell for over $200. Mint-era coins, depending on the type and rarity, can range from $50 to $500 or more at auction. The most dramatic errors, like a broad strike or double strike, have sold for over $1,000. So the next time you see that golden coin with AD under the date, don't just pass it by. Take a closer look, flip it, check the surfaces, look for anything unusual, because what looks like an ordinary dollar could be a hidden collector's gem. Top 3, we're diving into a bold and beautiful piece of American coinage history, the 1972 Kennedy half dollar. This coin is more than just a big, shiny hunk of metal. It's a tribute to a beloved president, a reflection of the U.S. Mint's changing strategies in the early 70s, and believe it or not, a potential hidden treasure if you know what to look for. Whether you're new to collecting or a seasoned coin hunter, this is one coin that deserves your full attention. Let's start with a little background. The Kennedy half dollar was first issued in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans instantly embraced the coin as both a tribute and a symbol of national unity. But by the 1970s, the half dollar was already beginning to fade from daily circulation. People weren't using them in everyday transactions as much anymore, they were too bulky for pockets, and many were hoarded or saved as keepsakes. In 1972, the Kennedy half dollar was struck in 2 locations, Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark. There were also proof versions made in San Francisco with an S mint mark, but those were strictly for collectors. What's important to understand is that 1972 marked a key point in U.S. coin production. It was one of the early years after the mint had fully transitioned away from silver, unlike the 1964 Kennedy half, which was 90% silver, and the 1965 to 1970 versions, which were 40% silver. The 1972 half dollar is completely copper-nickel clad. That means it contains no silver content, at least not intentionally. But here's where things get interesting. Some rare 1972 Kennedy half dollars were mistakenly struck on leftover 40% silver planchets, likely holdovers from 1970 or earlier. These silver planchet errors are extremely rare but highly valuable. If you ever suspect your 1972 half dollar might contain silver, weigh it. A standard clad coin weighs around 11.34 grams, while a silver clad error will be heavier, closer to 11.5 grams or more. Now let's talk errors, because this is where the real excitement begins. Several 1972 Kennedy half dollar errors have made their way into collector hands. These include double die obverse, DDO, coins, where parts of the design, like the word Liberty or the date, appear doubled under magnification. A strong DDO can dramatically increase a coin's value. Another error to watch for is the off-center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, causing the design to be shifted, sometimes dramatically. Off-center coins with full dates visible are especially valuable. There are also clipped planchets, broad strikes, and struck-through grease errors, which can cause missing details or unusual surface marks. Each of these errors adds uniqueness and value to the coin, but even without errors, condition matters a lot. Coins that have been in circulation will show wear and are usually only worth face value. However, coins in uncirculated or high mint state, MS65 and above, especially those with original luster and sharp details, are highly sought after by collectors. Proof versions from San Francisco are even more desirable when found in perfect condition. Now for the part every collector wants to know, the value. A typical 1972 Kennedy half dollar in circulated condition is usually worth around 50 cents to $1. Uncirculated examples graded MS65 can bring $15 to $30, depending on eye appeal and mint mark. Proof coins from San Francisco can range from $10 to $50, especially in deep cameo condition, but here's where it gets exciting. Verified error coins or silver planchet mistakes can command serious money. A known 1972 Kennedy half dollar struck on a silver planchet sold at auction for over $3,000. And high-grade double-die obverse coins have reached values of $600 to $1,000 or more, depending on rarity and condition. Top 4, we're diving into one of the most iconic and visually striking coins in American history, the 1976 Kennedy half dollar, also known as the bicentennial half-dollar. This coin isn't just a piece of change, it's a bold celebration of America's 200th birthday, packed with history, beauty, and hidden value that many collectors overlook. So if you've got one of these in your collection, or you've seen one lying around, pay close attention. It might be worth far more than 50 cents. First off, let's talk about why this coin stands out immediately. Unlike regular Kennedy half-dollars, the 1976 version features a dual date, 1776 to 1976, to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And instead of the usual presidential seal on the reverse, this coin features a stunning image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very place where our founding fathers met to create a new nation. It's more than a coin, it's a piece of patriotic artwork. Now here's something most people don't know: the US Mint didn't just strike one type of bicentennial half-dollar, there are 3 different versions, and some of them are much rarer than others. You have the standard clad versions, made of copper and nickel, struck in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, with a D mint mark. But there's also a special 40% silver version, struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark, and that's where things start to get valuable. The silver bicentennial half-dollars were never released into general circulation. They were sold only in special collector sets, which means far fewer were made, and even fewer have survived in top condition. These are already more desirable than the regular copper-nickel coins, but that's just the beginning of the story. Let's talk about rarity and errors, the true key to unlocking serious value. Some of the 1776 to 1976 half-dollars were struck with dramatic off-center errors, where part of the design is missing and shifted to one side. These coins are highly collectible, especially when the date is still fully visible. Another major variety to look for is the double die obverse, DDO, where you can spot slight doubling in the lettering, particularly in the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." These errors are hard to see without magnification, but if you find one, you're holding something rare. Also watch out for proof coins with deep cameo contrast, those struck with mirror-like surfaces and frosted details. These high-end finishes are especially valuable when perfectly preserved. If your coin has a strong S mint mark and looks like it was never touched, it could be one of these special proofs. Now, here's a cool fact: not all bicentennial halves have the same finish. Some were struck with a matte or satin finish for special mint sets. These are rarer and harder to find in perfect condition, especially in original packaging. Condition plays a massive role in value. A worn coin from circulation may not be worth much, but a flawless, uncirculated example can be a real prize. The highest values come from coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, especially those in MS67 or higher, and even more so if they're silver or proofs. Let's talk about the numbers, what these coins are actually worth. A typical 1776 to 1976 Kennedy half-dollar in circulated condition is worth about 50 cents to $1. But in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially from a mint set, it can sell for $3 to $5. Now for the silver versions, a 40% silver bicentennial half in uncirculated condition can fetch $6 to $15, and proof versions can go for $10 to $25 depending on their grade. But here's where things get exciting. Error coins, especially off-center strikes or double die varieties, have sold for $100 to several $100, depending on rarity. And the highest auction sale for a 1776-1976 silver Kennedy half-dollar, graded PR70 deep cameo, brought in a stunning $4,400. Top 5, and last rare coin. We're zooming in on a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but holds fascinating stories and unexpected value, the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar from the United States. This coin, part of a long-standing and beloved series, has some unique traits and rare quirks that can make it a must-have for collectors and even a surprise find for casual holders. So listen closely, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for if you stumble upon one of these coins. The Kennedy half-dollar series was first introduced in 1964, following the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It quickly became an iconic piece of American currency, featuring the president's profile on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. Fast forward to 1998, the coin's design remained largely consistent, but the year itself marked some interesting moments in production and collecting trends. By the late 1990s, the Kennedy half-dollar was no longer widely used in everyday commerce. The U.S. Mint shifted much of its production toward collector sets and special editions. The 1998 half-dollar was struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark. Additionally, a limited number of proof coins were struck in San Francisco with the S mint mark, made specifically for collectors and not intended for circulation. What makes the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar intriguing? First, its rarity in circulation. Unlike coins from earlier decades, 1998 halves were produced in smaller quantities and mostly distributed through collector sets. So finding one in circulation, especially in pristine condition, is becoming less common. Now, onto what collectors really care about: errors and varieties that elevate the coin's worth. One of the most sought-after errors on the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar is the double die obverse, DDO, where you can spot noticeable doubling in the lettering, particularly around the words "Liberty" and the date. This kind of error is subtle but highly prized because it results from a misalignment during the minting process. Another error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't perfectly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Off-center strikes vary in value depending on how much of the design is visible, but many can fetch significant premiums compared to regular coins. There's also the clipped planchet error, where the metal blank used for the coin is improperly cut, resulting in a coin with a missing section or unusual shape. This is less common but very popular among error coin collectors. Beyond errors, condition plays a massive role in the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar's value. While circulated coins typically hold little value above face, uncirculated coins and those graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC in higher grades, especially MS65 and above, command higher prices. Proof coins with the S mint mark, particularly those with a deep cameo finish, a sharp contrast between the frosted design and mirror-like background, are especially desirable. Now, the moment you've been waiting for: how much is this coin worth? A standard circulated 1998 Kennedy half-dollar usually trades close to its face value of 50 cents. However, uncirculated examples with strong eye appeal can command prices between $4 and $10. Proof coins from San Francisco, especially those graded PR69 or PR70, can sell for $10 to $20, sometimes even more depending on the collector demand. If you manage to find an error coin, like a double die obverse or a well-preserved off-center strike, prices can jump significantly. These error coins have sold at auction for anywhere between $50 to $300, depending on the severity and rarity of the error, as well as the coin's overall condition. So next time you handle a 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, don't just glance over it. Take a moment to inspect the date, the lettering, and the alignment. You might be holding a hidden gem. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more fascinating coin stories, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an exciting update. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.